Hey guys, welcome back. All right, so this is going to be a today's topic storyline, and it is going to be for the 31st of May. And as always, you guys, I always do one free reading each week, and I will be doing that tonight for a winner. So stick around to the end, and you'll hear who the winner is, and I'll go right into that free reading. But over the next probably 2.5, possibly even 3 weeks, I will not be doing that. I have to put that on pause just because I don't ever like to. Say I'm going to do something if I already know I'm entering into a really like tumultuous time of my life where it's going to be hard for me to stick to the schedules that I typically use. And so for the time being, you guys, I'm not choosing any winners for probably the next 2, maybe even 3 weeks. It won't be until I'm officially moved and things are settled in my life again that I'll be able to kind of like get back to what I prefer for my normal schedule, where it doesn't feel rushed and hectic and like I'm always running behind. So anyway, you guys, just so that you know, as of tonight, after I do this free reading, I'll let you know when I start that up again, but it'll be a little bit, okay? Just until I'm all moved. So I'll do that free reading at the end. All right, so I did pre-shuffle, and so I have to give her a little tube top because she doesn't have all of her clothes on in this. I don't want to offend anyone. But we've got card number 19. And this card is all about contemplation and analysis. I think it was a German philosopher, Erich Fromm, says mankind is the only animal who is burdened by like the quest for trying to figure out their existence. Most animals don't overthink it, but humans tend to, right? Why am I here? What am I doing? All these big questions, moral questions, all these things that we ask ourselves. And so because that statement goes along with this card, according to the guidebook, that is something that almost begs a question like, is our lead character here over analyzing things, making things more complex than they need to be? Because it's such a gift to be alive. But when we break it down so much to the minutia, we can kind of get caught up in the minutia, and then we forget that it becomes a burden instead of like reveling in the fact that I'm here and I get to make choices. Now it's like, oh my God, I'm here and I have all these choices I have to make, and it's so stressful. So this is really, it's a change in perspective about how we analyze. That's the way I would interpret that. So let's see. I don't know if someone has been overthinking stuff. I know I can certainly do that. Right now I'm doing it. What deck do I want? How's that for like hitting the nail on the head with trying to find what I think I want? We're going to go with a deck I never, I don't even remember that I have this deck until once in a blue moon I come across it. Okay, so we may have a King of Swords character who is overanalyzing, which would make sense because the swords talk about like thoughts and conversation. Now, he has his sword upright, so this could be a king who is ready to communicate, and that may be it. They've been analyzing and analyzing and analyzing. What should I say? That is Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy, but again, that's less important to me. I care more about the flavor of the storytelling that goes along with this character. We have a Hermit in the reverse. So again, the time for conversation is here for possibly if this is 2 different characters or if this is still just talking solely about this King of Swords. This King of Swords is ready to communicate after a time of being in hermit mode, doing some deep soul searching. Or because this is Virgo energy, we could be talking about a totally different character, and that character is also ready to communicate because this is in the reverse. Instead of diverging and being in these times of, both of these characters actually go in their heads a lot. That's what this looks like. This is 2 characters who get really up in their heads, and then both of them are in a place where they're ready to communicate. Wow. They could be having someone who facilitates the conversation. We have a King of Pentacles. This could be an official person, a magistrate, a mediator of sorts. It could be someone who sits down and facilitates one person's selling something, the other one is buying it, because this could be someone in authority who is overseeing the exchange of money, or this is the energy of what they want to converse about. They're both open to having dialogue Maybe it's about this other king, or maybe it's we're ready to talk about this situation. And the situation could be someone who wants to step into this energy. It could talk about equality. It could talk about the way in which we would like to interact with each other. Because both of these characters have been up in their heads and they're both coming to the table to sit down and talk now. This would be a wonderful, like, equal give and take if they could both have a meeting of the minds at that particular mindset and that particular kind of dialogue. Okay, so let's tell me more about this King of Pentacles. Well, now we've got a Queen of Cups. We got a lot of people here. Hold up. Either we have someone who wants to communicate possibly about another couple. I mean, I don't think that this is all about gossip, though. It feels like this could go in a couple different directions. Either our king, who is our first one who's been overanalyzing, who's ready to communicate. They're ready to talk to someone, they're ready to come out of silence. And it seems to either be maybe the king wants to propose this idea. What if I was really giving to you? And what if you were really warm and loving and giving to me? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't you like to do that with me? They could be analyzing how to express what kind of energy they'd like to sit in and what kind of energy they would like that hermit to sit in. That is one situation. Or they would like to explain a scenario between that, something that involves that Queen of Cups and that that King of Pentacles. Okay, but let's stay on that for a minute, because we got the Magician in the reverse, but we have the Nine of Wands in the upright. The way I'm interpreting this right now is that we have someone who's been overanalyzing, I want to say, their place in this world, their behavior that they display, and they've been thinking about what do they really want? Who do they want to be in a relationship? Who do they want to be in a situation? This hasn't manifested yet, but somebody would like to try this again. Maybe they'd like to, Nine of Wands can be like, failed at this 9 times, but on the 10th time, I want to get this right. I don't know how to manifest this, though. It almost could be that someone wants to say to another person, here's the thing, I've been thinking all about this, and I'm really logical, and I'm kind of clinical about things. So what I need to explain to this other person who's been silent as well, I need to express that what I would like to do is have this kind of a relationship in my life. I've never been this king before, or maybe they want to be this queen, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is, if our king wants to explain, here is what my vision is, I would like to be in a relationship that feels like this, where it's a king and a queen that sit together and they're loving and they're giving and they have growth and they have some, this king could even be saying, what I want is I want to give to someone who I know loves me and has emotion for me. That's what makes me want to give in a situation. They may have been trying to figure out the right words to explain what they need in order for themselves to feel safe and in order for them to step up and be the best version of themselves, or to become this version of themselves. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my interpretation on this. And I feel like this king is also saying, I don't know how to do that. I've never been successful at that, but I want that at this point in my life. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at each. Now that we've seen like what the conversation is, let's take a look at each one of these two characters, the king and the hermit, the King of Swords, that is, and the hermit separately. Tell me a little bit about the King of Swords. Who are they? What prompted this? Anything about them? We have the Chariot. So they want to change something in their life. They're feeling like it's time to make a shift. They're feeling like it's time. This could be somebody who really wants to be in a commitment now. Maybe they were single and solo for a long time. This person could be someone who had like a high level of responsibility in their lives. It could be somebody who tends to be in charge, especially because only an emperor or an empress rides in a chariot. But they've gone from being kind of like, again, this is someone who's always thought really rationally, really logically, and they're even doing it about like explaining, this is what I would like to have in my life now. I would like to have this committed relationship. This person could be saying, like, I want to move into like a relationship where I'm married to someone who, and this is the vision of what a marriage is that I would want to have. I want to move forward. I want to have that in my life. I've never actually had one relationship that was successful like that, but I really want to invest in this now, and I'm ready to move forward. So they're having a pretty dramatic change. When we see that Chariot, that's when a character has had a tremendous shift in their mentality. They're balanced, they're centered and grounded, and they know what direction they want to lead or what direction they want to take their life in. We have the Hierophant that is sideways. I mean, this is somebody who is talking about high levels of commitment now. So at this point, we have Cancerian, then we have Taurus, we have Virgo out. And then, of course, just for our kings. Oh, and I'm sorry, we also have Virgo, Gemini for the Magician. And then we've got that King of Pentacles. So Virgo, Gemini, excuse me, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. And then we've got the Queen of Cups. So all of our water signs, right? And then we've also got our King of Swords. So all of our air signs. But that's kind of what we're dealing with in the macro. Let's go over to the Hermit right now. Ooh. Our Hermit has a lot more going on in their head, apparently, because we've got, okay, so we have Queen of Pentacles here. We have 5 of Wands. We have 4 of Cups. We have Ace of Swords. And we have the 3 of Cups. Okay, so our Hermit character is sitting in this energy of, they do analyze stuff a lot. They think about the idea of giving. So it's interesting because remember how our King of Swords is starting out thinking about what they want to say. And what they want to say is, I'd like to try being a King of Pentacles and be with a Queen of Cups. I'd like that kind of a relationship. And it's almost like they're posing this almost like a business thing to our Hermit, because I feel like that King of Swords is going to say it in a very clinical way, but they're trying to explain, like, I want to have a committed relationship, one that makes me feel really loved. Well, it's interesting because our Hermit over here has been analyzing, thinking, okay, I am a giver and I know that, but I feel like I've missed out on the right kind of relationship. And I feel like the truth of it is, maybe I really want to have a reconciliation with someone, or maybe I want to have more fun. It's interesting because she's seeing herself analyzing her own behavior, saying, I'm always a giver, I'm always a hard worker, but she's wanting to go into this cup energy anyway, which, remember, that's what this king is looking for. This king wants to have a relationship where they are grounded and solid, and their mate is this really loving individual. It's interesting because she's kind of at that point where I would like to, I almost feel like I'm always the one who's working, and I'm analyzing this. I'm analyzing my behavior. I'm always the grounded one, always a strong one, always the hard worker, always a reliable one. But I still feel like I've missed out on something. And the truth of it is, what I want is something more fun loving, more, where I get to have a more lighthearted approach. So it's interesting because these two may be in exactly the right mind frame to be able to give each other exactly what each is looking for. She wants some kind of reunion energy that's lighter and more bubbly. They want something that is serious and committed, but they want a partner who is really loving and uplifting. Okay, so what's our overall takeaway message for this story? Because to me, this is like, we have the World card in the reverse, and we have the Page of Swords. So remember, we started out with analyzing things. Now the Page of Swords is also about learning what we need. It's about observing. It's about figuring out who somebody else is, figuring out what we really want in life. It is just the process of gathering information, which is what our whole lifespan really is. Whether we're talking real characters or fake characters, doesn't matter. I'm talking about fictional characters right now, but I always look for what is the big takeaway message in any of the stories that I tell. And it says we have to figure out what we want before we can have that successful next beginning. So analyzing things is good as long as we don't get, trapped in analysis paralysis. But in this case, we've used our analyzing for the best possible purpose, which is to figure out, you know what I really am hungry for in my life at this point. I want a character or a partner who is going to be, fulfilling that role that I really want someone to play in my life. And here's a role that I'd like to play in my relationship. And it's interesting because it's like when we're both sure of what we're looking for, it makes it a lot easier to then evaluate, does that person match me? So as, if our big takeaway message is gather enough information to decide, are we ready for that? In this case, with the World card in the reverse, it's almost looking like this could be a situation where both people are able to watch each other and recognize that if this was two people who already knew each other, what they want now is different. But what's nice is that they're actually in sync, and they're actually at this point where this is, instead of like a brand new beginning, it's almost like this is a storyline that never ended. It's simply, we had to change the terms of our contract. We had to identify that we both wanted a particular relationship. We wanted to behave differently within a relationship. So this situation, our story never ended. And I'm holding it up right so you can see that we have these two little twin cherubs here that are holding up the world. So we have this sense of love. We also have this sense of duality. We also have this sense of, like, it's almost as if we're recognizing this love story was never over, but it did have to be altered. So this could be one of those situations where two people who knew each other, but it didn't work before, it now could work with. This could be two people who, it's like, oh, I don't know, we stopped talking. We weren't really in the same headspace. Now, interestingly enough, they're much more well suited at this point. I'm not going to say they're perfectly suited, because what does that mean? A perfect fit can be something where we're still autonomous and we're still very different, but we also click, But it's interesting because in this case, the analysis is actually helpful because the analysis is in one person's mind saying, what is it that I really want? And they're figuring it out. And turns out that's what the other person has been doing as well. Who do I really want to be in a relationship? What kind of a relationship do I want to have? And once they get that figured out, then they're ready to call in the right partner, which, interestingly enough, it's one another. These are characters who, if they're not characters who've already been together, they certainly are characters who are like able to openly express, what I'm looking for in my life. I'm looking for this kind of a relationship. So if they're like going on a dating site, they're able to actually write an accurate depiction of who they are and what they want, because they've analyzed what they want. So this is a time frame when analyzing actually works to our advantage, because it does help somebody sort out, wait, I'm different now. What I'm looking for is different than what I used to look for. I want long-term commitment, and this is what that looks like to me. This is the role I want to play in a long-term commitment. So really beautiful. I love to see two people that are like wanting the same things, finding each other. So you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to my channel, drop me a comment, all that jazz. And as I said at the beginning, I will, just for the next couple weeks, I won't be doing any more of the, choosing a winner for free read, not until my life is stable again and I'm in the middle of moving and there's just way too much happening. That's a very bumpy road for me right now, very stressful. So anyway, on that note, though, I'm still going to do the one that I already promised. So I'm going to go into that one right now. So the winner tonight is Jessica Rios. So Jessica, thank you so much for being a part of my channel. And thank you everybody who's a part of my world. You're welcome to stick around and hear Jessica's reading if you would like to, or you can click off now, whatever you wish. So Jessica, my dear, first off, thank you for all the good energy, all the good vibes. So as I always say, and I know everybody hears this all the time, but I'm going to say it again. I am not a psychic. I don't have that gift. I don't have that ability. What I am is a storyteller. So this is the art of storytelling through symbols. So I don't tell you anything true here. It's just that we're going to tell a story that is, specifically kind of like for you. But at the same time, it is It is only for entertainment. So please just know, don't make life decisions. Don't expect that it's going to tell you anything or give you advice. I don't do any of that. This is purely entertainment. But on that note, let's go ahead and begin. So I want to start out with the chakra deck. We have Queen of Coins in the reverse, and this is the third eye chakra. So this is the intuition. Sometimes when we get depleted because we've been overgiving, that can kind of like run us ragged to where our intuition isn't kicked into high gear, maybe. Or this is a time where it's like, you know what? I don't think I want to keep giving because it's taking away my ability to see things clearly. You know, if we get too close to something and we give too much, at some point we go, whoa, I got to stop over giving because I'm losing perspective. Normally my intuition helps guide me toward what is, sensible, what is correct. But right now it's almost like I got a little drained and it might have thrown my intuition off. So let me get some rest. Let me take care of me. Let me stop giving to everybody else and let me regain my balance, particularly where my intuition is concerned. So let's see. What does that have to do with? Because I think that's a great message, no matter what, to think about. Oh, the Chariot. So Chariot is all about balance and it's all about moving forward. It's about where we're headed. So if we're in a moment of time where it's like, wait a second, I might need to take a little break. I might need to, get a little more rest. I might need to quit giving my time to a ton of other people because I gotta get myself back on track to say, wait a minute, I've got these plans and my life is moving in a certain direction, but is this the direction that I want it to go in? I don't want it to be a situation where somehow, even though it's my life and my choices, it almost feels like it's just happening without me necessarily giving it my stamp of approval. Because we have motion, we have where are we headed? We're headed wonderful places, but it's almost like we want to be alert and rested enough to enjoy the ride. So we may stop giving in one area because it's time for us to either move in a new direction or because we're already sensing that things are happening and they're happening fast. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let me catch my breath and let me make sure that I'm actually prepared for all these changes. So we've got some wonderful shifts happening is what it looks like to me. Tell me about that Chariot. That's Cancerian energy. So wonderful emotions. Wow. Hanged Man in the reverse. So we got Pisces. So a lot of water energy now that we've had that earth energy to start with. But there's no waiting. Like life is happening right now. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. The only thing is we're moving in this new direction. Either we're letting go of something so that we can move in a new direction and I'm about to sneeze, by the way. We're really sure about wanting to go in this new direction. Sorry. I'm going to try not to sneeze. You got a King of Pentacles in the reverse. So here's the interesting thing. King and Queen in the reverse. This could be we're in a preparation phase, whether or not we realize it, because the universe could be bringing us into a union at some point. And it's like, because this is a matched pair. All we got to do is get them in the upright. And then we have this amazing and happy matched pair. And it's funny because even in this position, you notice how he's kind of like looking over at her. But again, right now, they're both in the reverse. We have change happening. We have progress happening. And we have no more delays. No more delays in regards to this match, this mate. The only issue is that they're both in the reverse. Tell me the Queen of Coins. Let's get one card on her and then one card on that King of Pentacles. To me, it's looking like there's no more waiting. Oh, wow. So the Queen of Coins has a King of Cups in the reverse. Oh, how interesting. So if she is in this situation where it's like, hey, I think I'm recognizing that if I have been interacting with someone who is like unavailable, it's almost tough to understand like what someone's opinions are if they don't express it freely, if there's not open dialogue that's meaningful. Maybe that's why she's like, wow, this is throwing me off kilter, because it's hard to find someone's authentic self if they don't reveal it, right? And so, and this could be about anything. This doesn't have to be about like a romantic connection, but we do see something here about it's really hard to either get to know people that aren't being like super transparent, or they don't really give us like the good vibes that make us know that they're really like excited to hang out with us or something. So it's like, well, maybe wait a second, maybe I've been giving a little too much to this, and maybe I want to pull back my energy a little bit, because this is almost a little confusing, is what it looks like. Now, on that King of Pentacles side, we have the Two of Cups and we have the Three of Pentacles in the reverse. So our king over here is like, they're not cooperating with anyone because they really want something very special. They want this kind of like amazing connection, this twin flame soulmate energy. The way it looks to me is like we're seeing a wonderful duo that could match each other really, really well. It's just that our queen right now is in the process of change is happening, and she wants to be really alert, but it's change that is happening because a situation is kind of like, I'm done with a scenario if there's not going to be like emotional feedback. If I don't, I almost want to say, if you have a stereo that you turn on, but you can't hear any music playing, it's like, okay, then I can't listen to the radio on this. So instead it's just a box, and maybe you can play CDs on it, but you can't play the radio. And if you really want to hear the radio and hear what's going on up to date, this is not someone who is going to give us up to date information, because they're withholding. And I feel like that's where she's like, why am I keeping a box that doesn't allow me to listen to the radio after all? There's a lack of interaction or something. And so there's this forward growth, this forward movement. That's already happened. This is already where she's been, but where she's going is what the primary part of this storyline is where is she going? She's going forward. She's moving forward in life in general. And interestingly enough, about to intersect with some kind of a King of Pentacles, somebody who is a great match, but they too have probably gone through their own situations where they also had a radio that wasn't playing any music, because they're not cooperating with anyone else, but they're kind of a pretty big romantic. The fact that we have this Two of Cups, that's actually really sweet. That's really sweet. So we have something amazing. Could this all be like, people transform and people change over time? Could this all talk about both characters going through change and saying, wow, you know what? I need to shift my energy. Absolutely. I mean, this King of Cups who's been in the reverse could shift into being that King of Pentacles, shift into being a better match. There could be like, we part ways and then we wind up finding each other again. But whatever it is, it's time, according to these cards, it's time for those changes. And it's all about, and the reason I'm suggesting that is because we do have that Two of Cups. And that can be a situation where people find each other again. Tell me something non-related to this story, something that is totally different than this. We've got a Three of Wands. We got a Temperance card. So moving into the future, we're moving into a time of much greater harmony, moving into a time of abundance. But first and foremost, it's the abundance of peace. It's really nice because this is about, our ships are coming in. Our future is taking us into a world that feels more balanced, into a place where we feel more balanced, like we're getting equal for the energy that we put out in life. And because this is ships coming in, this can talk about, like our money is going to get better, our life in general, our interactions with others, anything that we view as a form of abundance, whether that's emotional or that's tangible, like physical goods. But we have a wonderful time frame coming up that's going to be feeling really nice, really peaceful. And this whole storyline is actually about moving forward for the sake of finding balance. We see that immensely when we were looking at that King of Pentacles. they too want balance. So it's not a surprise that in general, we're moving into a time period of greater harmony and peace because decisions have been made. Tell me a little bit about the decisions. Decisions have been made. Well, decisions have been made to, I want to say, to not settle for things that don't make us happy. This whole juggling act, this is where we've weighed pros and cons. The decision to move forward is made because we've answered, like, am I genuinely happy or am I accepting less than what I want? Do I feel like it's, um, like, do I need to change everything in order to be happy? Like, basically change who I am in order to accept something? No. In fact, we've already had a pretty good idea of what we truly wanted. So I think it's more about just balancing things out and saying, okay, nothing's ever going to be picture perfect, but I also don't want to, like, accept something that isn't really satisfying and say, oh, I guess that's as good as it's going to get, because really we've never changed our mind. We know what we're still looking for, and that's what we're on a mission to get in this lifetime. So are we looking for balance? Yes, but we actually wind up achieving it. But we achieve it through this process of, you know what, life is all about growth, and growth happens whether we want it to or not. But when we embrace it and we say, you know what, it's true. Like, I've got to do some growing here. I've got to allow some things to metamorphosize and change because I want balance and I want to continue growing and I want to continue seeking out relationships or situations in my life that make me feel really satisfied, really balanced. That's what we have happening with this lead character. So to me, this feels like this this was a thing of the past. This is what we've already grown away from. Whatever situation there was that we were, experiencing, where it was like, I don't really feel very emotionally supported or something. It's like, well, then why am I investing in something that doesn't feel like I quite jive with this? And again, that could have been anything that was emotional. It could have been how we felt about a career path, how we felt about a lover, how we felt about anything along those lines that we just identified. I don't want to keep putting my energy into this. I want to go ahead and say, if I'm dissatisfied with something, maybe it's because I'm supposed to keep moving forward and I'm supposed to keep growing. And that was the evaluation method that we used. Am I really happy? Or do I want to, like, stick true to what I said to myself in the beginning of this lifetime, which is, you know what, I really want to, like, explore and experience life so that I don't settle, but rather so that I choose things that genuinely make me satisfied. So all of this storyline, to me, we do have a powerful romantic tie in here as well. But it's like that's what we're still headed toward, is some really satisfying romance up ahead. Um, but it's just interesting because that character is currently not necessarily cooperating well with someone. Now, that doesn't mean that it's like, oh, there's discord. It just might mean that this person that is a great match, maybe they're also going through that same transformation of asking themselves, what do I really want? Who do I want to be in a connection? How do I want this to feel? But they're headed for the same kind of balance. I mean, to me, this whole storyline is about balance. All three major segments of this are about balance, because the Two of Cups is a perfect mirror image. The Two of Pentacles is all about balance, and then the Temperance card. So we see that everywhere here. The only changes that we're making are for the betterment of our inner peace and our external world and our relationships and our authentic happiness. I think that's a pretty cool storyline. It's very nice because we're leaving heartbreak in the past. We've got a Knight of Pentacles also in the past. Well, I shouldn't say past. That, again, is a point of change. So to me, the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse is where it's not like we're saying, oh, I really want to, work through this. We're saying we've already changed direction. We've changed course. I'm not going to stick around in anything that's going to break my heart. And I'm not going to focus on things that used to have broken my heart. Heartbreaks do happen, but those are things if I've gone through them, that's the point. I've gone through it already. I'm beyond it now. So I don't return there, and I don't have to keep chugging along thinking, you know, every step of my life is going to be a grind where I'm trying to recover from heartbreak. I'm going to allow myself to be recovered from heartbreak. So it's kind of like a choice. Um, but we go right into the Six of Pentacles along with the Fool card in the reverse. Again, with the balance, we can't escape that. This whole storyline is about balance, 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 which I think is beautiful because we can talk about money again too. We have balance in so many different aspects of life. We have balance in romance. We have balance in personal self and spiritual self. We have balance in our external world, and then we have balance even in our career and finance. And what's really nice is, once again, it's, even though we've seen ourselves making change, none of it was ever risky, and none of it deviated from what our original plan was. Our original plan was, I'm here for adventures in life, and when I experience things, I will evaluate them and say, is this the happiness that I crave? Is this what I desire? And if the answer is no, then it means I keep growing and I keep learning and I go into the next, scenario. But never is it like a total insane leap of faith where we don't know what's going to happen, because we have a plan. We've always had a plan. So nothing is really a leap of faith. It's more like all we're doing is being our authentic selves. Of course, step by step throughout life, I'm always going to check in with myself and say, does this feel balanced? Am I working as much as I'm getting paid for? Am I in a relationship that feels equal? Do I enjoy spending time with my friends as much as, they enjoy spending time with me? Are the relationships in my life, do they feel like they're, making me feel valuable? And I also show them that they're valuable to me. Everything is very fair and very balanced and very harmonious, because it's not to have like a life that is so placid, but rather to make sure that we're getting the kind of life that we asked for in this lifetime, and we are in control of making those choices so that we can have that beautiful balanced life. I just think it's interesting because it's like we're achieving all of it, so then there's no need to keep changing everything, because one by one we keep knocking it out of the park. It's like, I'm willing to, the word homeostasis is a really great word, because it means constant change for permanent balance. And, that's kind of what, our body is doing, right? It's always seeking homeostasis. So we make little fluctuations in everything. So being balanced doesn't mean that we're now rigid and we never change. It doesn't mean our life is like a flat line. It means we can ebb and flow, but it's always within a range so that our life gets more stable, yet we're still flexible, but we don't have to have these giant leaps and swings of emotion. Instead, every part of our life has gotten more balanced because we took all those steps one piece at a time. We were able to say, I really want to have balance. Yeah, that sounds good. I'd like to meet somebody who's like that. So I'm calling them in. I'd like to be balanced spiritually and be really at peace. So I'll do that. I want to have balance in my external world and in my career path. Everything that we do, we totally make that mark over and over and over again. I think this is a remarkable storyline. I haven't seen one that's fit together in such a beautiful harmony. And to see that how possible this is, and that it doesn't have to be like an exhausting journey, but rather a journey of just, it's almost like saying, because of the way our lead character behaves, they automatically create harmony around themselves. Beautiful, beautiful energy here. Anyway, that is what I've got on this one. As I said in the beginning, it is not any story specifically about you. It is a story for you. So just bear that in mind. You can be like, okay, you're crazy. I got no interest in hearing this story at all. And that is okay too. Just remember, it's just free entertainment. But if there is an overarching message, it was definitely one of the choices that our character makes. They are consistently choosing to bring about a more satisfying life for themselves, and they are doing it through staying true to what was important to them, which is a life of balance. So kind of a sweet message. Anyway, please, only take from it whatever smile it may put on your face. If there's something about the entertainment that you enjoyed, otherwise do release it. Don't even let it get in your head. It's just a story. But thank you so much for being a part of my world, and I send you lots of love. Bye.